There are dozens, sometimes even over 100, new games added to the Steam store every single day. Most of these go by completely unnoticed, and oftentimes for good reason. I sifted through tons of these games added within the last week or so and found a handful that I think look actually pretty good to play. Today we're looking at 5 games, starting off with a game called Next Floor. Next Floor is a score attack, fast-paced, difficult, gory FPS with a simple objective: reach the highest floor you can. Take all your stress out on enemies and make the most creative kills to get as many points as possible. However, higher the floor, the more difficult it will be. How far can you go? So to start off, Next Floor is a game that is overflowing with potential. It's actually a lot closer to something like Bulletstorm than it is something like Doom, and Bulletstorm is one of my favorite shooters ever. So this game should be great, I should love it, right? Well, not quite. Like I said, it has a lot of potential, but it's just not quite there yet. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of this game, I want to address the elephant in the room that this game is pretty buggy and pretty glitchy. Yeah, I think you got stuck out of bounds. But I don't think that that's all bad. There's something I like to say about game design where you have a ratio of your problems where it's how hard it is to fix and how hard it is to figure out. A lot of issues you'll have, like a gameplay not being fun or a mechanic not feeling quite right, you could spend hours, days, weeks, months, years trying to figure out what the problem is so you can fix it. But with bugs and glitches, you have a huge advantage where you just gotta fix it. You don't gotta figure out what the problem is. You already know what the problem is. In this game, for example, enemies get stuck out of bounds all the time. Boom, you know what the problem is, now you just gotta fix it. There are a lot of issues with this game that need some figuring out, and I don't quite know how to describe them, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, the game is pretty glitchy, pretty buggy. I'm not really going to factor that into the review too much, because I think that they can fix it. I don't think it's anything major. So let's get on to the gameplay. Mechanics are where this game really shines through. You have a slide, a kick, a teleport, and a grapple hook, along with your guns, which opens up so much potential for awesome combos. Add in environmental hazards like electricity fields and spinning saw blades, and there you go. You have a game that, while maybe not too original in concept, is a tried, true, tested environment for just having a ton of fun. I was completely sold from the get-go. I could tell that the game would be a bit jank, but I didn't care. This game did not have to do much to impress me at all. I was totally ready to just fucking slaughter waves of enemies. And it didn't really happen. I kept dying pretty early, and yeah, the game said that it would be difficult on the store page, but goddamn, I really felt like the difficulty was not coming from the right place. It's really hard to pinpoint exactly where this game falls off course, but I can tell you the biggest problem is that it feels like I'm fighting the game itself more than the enemies. The enemies aren't necessarily difficult, but the game is so clunky. Your movement is not smooth, not tactile, not precise at all. Your screen is constantly drifting around a lot. Recoil is pretty extreme, which makes it to where the AK-47 is pretty much unusable as a weapon. You've got to go with the shotgun. The pistol's okay, but if you're going pistol, you might as well grab a shotgun. And all of these abilities that should make you feel smooth and fast and should be a lot of fun are just so clunky that you can't really use them most of the time. You're better off just walking, sliding, the occasional kick on an enemy, and shooting. You don't really want to mess around with fast-paced gameplay at all, which is a real shame. So overall, I would have to say, would I recommend this game? Not in its current state. But is this game a total flop, a total failure? Absolutely not. This is something that you should keep your eye on. Go pick up the demo, see how you feel about this game, and watch it. I think that this game, like I said, is full of potential. There is so much that can be done with this game. It's not super far away from being a fun game, totally worth $5 or $10. This next game is kind of the opposite of the last one. I went into this not really expecting more than 10 or 15 minutes of fiddling around, and I've played hours of this game. I've unlocked every level. I keep returning to it. It's surprisingly addictive for how simple it is, and if there's one game out of this whole list that I recommend that you just download and give a shot regardless of what you think it looks like, this would be it. This game is fun. I like it a lot. This game is called Mini Airways. The concept is super basic. You're playing as an air traffic controller, or ATC, and you're guiding planes to touch down and take off. Depending on which map you choose, you have 1, 2, or 3 runways to use. Incoming planes have this gray diamond, and outgoing planes have circles of various colors. Dots will pop up on the map that you have to send these planes out to, and if you take too long, or more likely the planes crash in midair, you lose. Your goal is to do as many planes and last as many days as possible. The game very quickly becomes super hectic, and it's so fun. This game really does a great job of showing me and surprising me with how quickly I lose track of things. Every single time that you fail in this game, it's completely your fault. The game is never to blame. And it's so simple that every time you lose, you just feel like an idiot. And it's super satisfying to make it to 100 and then 150. And I haven't quite gotten there yet, but eventually 200 planes. This game is absolutely perfect for passing 15 minutes whenever you're bored, or for binging for an hour straight. I've pretty much nothing to complain about as far as this game goes. The only things I would suggest is maybe a fast forward feature, because after you play for a while, the first 50 or 60 planes are pretty easy. I don't struggle with those at all. So just being able to fast forward whenever I need to, I'm just waiting for planes to move at the start, would be nice. And sometimes the touchdown is a bit funky, and I'll have a plane like straight up go into the runway and it doesn't want to land. But just 2 little minor improvements for quality of life, really. The game is great. Please go check it out and give these guys some love. The next game we have is called the Lithium Moon Incident. There were a couple of things that jumped out to me immediately and sold me on this game. The first thing is the art style. This is a pretty low resolution, very limited palette style of pixel art, and I love making pixel art, and let me tell you that having such a limited palette, in the case of this game being just one color with a few different shades, just solid blue or solid pink backgrounds with different shades of that color, it's very difficult. It's hard to make good art with such an extremely limited palette, so I thought that was super cool. And also, the second thing that really grabbed my attention was that this was a game inspired by ARGs, or alternate reality games. ARGs allow for an unlimited amount of creativity. They can come in a huge variety of different projects, so I was super excited to see what this game had to offer. So, without further ado, let's hop into this game, and I will tell you my unfortunately rather short experience with this title. You play as a girl named Eve. Eve is pretty young, probably early 20s, late teens, somewhere around there. And you're getting a phone call from your dad who wants you to grab a camera and bring it over to his work. He has something cool to show you, but he doesn't tell you exactly what it is. During this time, you can walk around town and explore the world a little bit, and I would like to call this kind of the opposite of Night in the Woods, where Night in the Woods is this big, bright, colorful, cozy town, and you're playing as Mae Borowski, who's a very bubbly, loving person no matter what. This game is the opposite. You're in a futuristic, alternative dystopia that's really grimy, and it's a very sad, nihilistic, depressing world, and your main character is kind of an asshole. And it's very cool. I like the world building a lot. I couldn't wait to see what kind of development my main character would have and how I would be interacting with this environment over time. Grabbing the camera and heading over to your dad's work, you run into a robot bodyguard named Kat. They want to quiz you by having you go find a 3-digit model number of a robot that was produced in order to get entry into the facility. And it's pretty funny because you can run over town and you'll find all sorts of 3-digit codes written all over the place, and you can input it into the field and they'll be like, no, stop just putting in whatever numbers you saw in town. Get me the model number I asked you for. Eventually you find it by going back home and looking through a box of robotics that's in your room. You bring it back, put in the code, go inside, and meet your dad. And your dad is cool as hell. Your dad's probably the only nice person that you've met in the game at this point. He is a crazy mad scientist inventor, and this is where the ARG element first introduces itself. Your dad tells you a little bit of history of a painting called The Battle of Marciano, and the hidden words on the painting, Cerca Trova, which is Italian for seek and you shall find. This is a real painting in real life, and these are real words written on the painting and have spawned countless conspiracy theories surrounding Da Vinci's lost painting, Battle of Anghiari. Then your dad reveals the secret project that he's been working on and wanted to show you, which is the Lithium Moon. He then asks you to record him with the camera you brought, and it cuts to an ARG style video where he explains that the Lithium Moon is a supercomputer that seems to have some kind of anomalous effect that can slow down and stretch time whenever it's pushed to its limit. Afterwards, you go home, take a nap, and wake up in a dream where you have a puzzle that you have to solve that I could not complete. There are 4 ropes that you can pull and a whole bunch of potential solutions as to what order you're supposed to pull them in. But the game also tells you everything you see is a lie and just try to close your eyes. So I'm like 95% sure that it's supposed to be a musical thing, because every rope has a different note that it plays whenever you pull it, and it's telling you to close your eyes. So I think it's telling you like close your eyes and just listen to the music and pull the chords in the right order. But I've tried. I have no musical ability. I've tried. I've went back, put another 30 minutes into it trying to pull it in the right order. But the notes in the music are not like 4 notes repeating over and over again. It's like a whole song, and I don't know what 4 notes I'm supposed to pull, or even if it's just 4. Maybe I'm supposed to do 8 or 12 or 20. I have no idea, but I can't do it. I don't know, and nobody else has played this game, so there's no video online. There's no guide I can look up to try and get past it. I am just stuck. Unfortunate, because I really want to play more of this game, but I just cannot figure it out. So if you're watching this and this game is interesting to you, please go play it and find the solution to this and show it to me, because I would love to know what it is. The next game I played is called Gravity Cab, and... Get better than this. Why? Why? I don't know what the fuck you want. Yeah, okay, alright, we're done here. What's next? Let's see. Card Clashers. Yeah, okay, this one seems good. Combo Card Clashers describes itself as a roguelike deck builder meets auto battler. It sure is, and a damn fine one at that. I would definitely recommend this game to anyone. It is a ton of fun. So in this game, you're traversing across a map, fighting enemies, buying, selling, and trading gear and cards to try and make yourself strong enough to beat a boss at the end. The thing that makes this game unique is its auto battler element. So every round you get 1 card and you get to place it into this 4x3 grid. You then go through this grid from top left going right down, just like you're reading a book, and it does all of these cards in order as long as you have enough mana to cast the cards. This system lets you very quickly spin out of control and become super overpowered. My favorite build is to get a whole bunch of repeat cards, cards that cast other cards multiple times, then put in a bunch of mana cards with those, so I build up a shit ton of mana, take away the mana cards, add in spell cards, and then I'm repeatedly casting a whole bunch of super overpowered spells that I have more than enough mana for, and just obliterate all of my enemies. It's super fun. I love this game. Please go give it a try. Last but certainly not least is a video game called DitherDream. If you enjoy video games as a medium for showcasing art, then this is something that might interest you. I'm not gonna say much about it because this is something that's kind of hard to quantify into words. Instead, I'm gonna end this video off with a few minutes of gameplay. See if you enjoy it. It's only $4. If you want to play it yourself and explore, there's a bunch of levels that I'm not going to be showcasing here. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.